your host and the consumer quarterback, Brandon Rhymes.
Yes, great day here in Tampa Bay. Consumer Quarterback Show, always helping you understand your buying decisions, making you more street smart here on the Consumer Quarterback Show. We got Mike Murphy back in studio on the second half of the program. He's our auto industry expert. He owns Murphy Auto Group, 5 dealerships throughout the southeast of the United States. We're going to talk about microchips, semiconductors, how that Taiwan might play into that. Also, some great opportunities to buy or lease from Murphy Auto Group. We got Mark Haye also in studio, 21st Century Financial Group. He's our expert contributor for all things finance related. Your financial advising, also can do some great recommendations as far as tax season coming up. We're going to talk about that. Also, economists negative on inflation. Are we going to be, or what's the percentages of seeing a deep recession? And we also might look to Europe to see kind of a precursor of what's happening over here. A lot of times you see things happening in Europe, and then they come this way across the sea there. So great lineup for you today here on the program. Save our hotline number at some point. You may need it, and we absolutely love hearing from you. We've had several calls, uptick in calls last week, people reaching out, wanting to get in touch with our expert contributors. We got all types of great home service providers, attorneys, CPAs, financial advice here on the Consumer Quarterback Show. So save this hotline number in your phone, and if you need a great realtor, great mortgage provider, great, all types of different areas, self-defense, lots of ways we can help you. 727-263-3707. Pull out your smartphone, save this number in the phone, 727-263-3707, and you can also send a quick text message too, and we'd love to connect with you, 727-263-3707, and follow us online at Brandon Rhymes 1, at CQB Show as well. And we always feature our listings as part of our strategy to help our sellers sell faster for more money here in Tampa Bay and the Gulf Coast region of Florida. We've got a beautiful 100-acre parcel now that we just listed. We have a co-listing with our counterparts over in Orlando. This one's on Pebble Creek Court. It's Four Corners, Florida. So it's Osceola and Orange County. We've got 100 acres prime land for development. So buy some dirt, build and develop. Great opportunity here. If you have any friends or family that's in real estate or development, talk to them about this listing. This is great potential. You've got waterfront, beautiful property here where you can build short-term rentals. You're 10 minutes from Disney World, Universal Studios, SeaWorld, downtown Orlando, Osceola and Orange counties. This is Pebble Creek Court, Four Corners, and let us know if you'd like to have more information on that. We'd love to share that with you. So we've got Mark Haye in the house coming up here. You can see all of our real estate listings at platinummvpteam.kw.com. All right, Mark, welcome back in, sir.
Thank you. Good to see you.
It's that time of year.
Yeah.
IRS they're coming. They're ready to get their paycheck.
Yeah, and we talk about all the time about taxes and increasing taxes, retirement, and here we are. We're coming up on the end of our tax season here, so hopefully people got everything in or filed an extension. We talk about taxes and IRS, and they got 30,000 agents that are starting out of the 80,000 new agents that have come on. And again, they're not going after the billionaires. They're going after the middle class and the $600 on your Venmo, and it's crazy.
It really is.
Just to sit up there and hear, we're going to go after the rich. It's never that. They go after everybody, even the little guy with the little mom and pop shop. So I'm a big opponent of just a straight sales tax and get rid of the IRS and get rid of all those loopholes and deductions and just go flat sales tax, and everybody then would pay taxes. Right now we don't have 100% of people paying taxes.
Right.
We have maybe less than 50% of Americans pay taxes.
Yeah.
And if we went flat sales tax, now all of a sudden you got 100%. And if you don't want to pay taxes, don't buy anything.
Right.
It is what it is. But you eliminate the IRS, you eliminate the buildings, the rent, the utilities, the staff, the benefits, the pensions. That's billions and billions of dollars a year. And not to mention, if we got 100% putting into the system now, that's another billions of dollars a year that's going into the economy or government. Yeah, simplify things. So the problem is they're not going to do that because they're all taking advantage of all the loopholes that are in there and the 1,000 pages that is the tax code that nobody understands. You know, that they're going to keep doing that. But I would love to see a flat sales tax someday.
Yeah.
You know, or at least somebody introduce it and push it.
Right.
You know, and something different than what we're doing.
Well, they don't want to end up like JFK.
Yeah, exactly.
Anything revolutionary, too revolutionary.
Well, there's got to be some changes when it comes to taxes, you know, because they've already, you know, this big thing on Social Security. Janet Yellen was on Congress last week. The Biden's new budget proposal offers no assistance to Social Security, and now we know by 2030 it's going to be bankrupt. So there's going to be changes, which means taxes are going to have to go up, or your benefits are going to get cut. You know, I know Ron DeSantis, I love him, you know, and he made the tough decision to say that he's supporting raising the retirement age, you know, from 67 to something later, because people are living longer. We don't have the money anymore to put people on, you know, all these benefits. So no politician wants to talk about it because it's political suicide to talk about Social Security and reducing or pushing, just like what happened in France. You see people rioting and protesting in the streets. Burning down BlackRock building and everything else, but the reason they're doing it is because the government's changing their pensions, they're changing their retirement age. Same thing that's going to happen here in America. It's going to happen. You know, there's no more money. You know,
a lot of those countries as well over, you know, in Europe. Again, it's a precursor to what we see happening here in many cases. They're attacking the farmers. They're going after their ability to farm, and they're going after the ability for you know, some of the different things that they're doing, and you know, whether it's taxes or different you know, regulations. You know, they're hurting the farmers as well. And that's food supply is such a big topic also.
Well, you want to talk about food supply? You know, the media didn't say a word last week, but you guys saw what happened in Texas with that dairy farm. 18,000 cows were burned up and killed.
Wow.
You don't see anything on the media on this stuff. You know, and that's not to mention what happened up north with the chickens and that whole. You know, I don't know what's going on with these train derailments and these things burning and all the food. The food supply. You think dairy's expensive now? Take 18,000 cows away overnight, and then find out how much your dairy is going to be, and meat, and I mean, it's only going to go up. But how do you have such a major inferno? You know, in that particular farm where 18,000 cows, you know, are just gone. That is a serious inferno, and not one media outlet's even reporting on it. It's hard to even get information on it. You know,
well,
how
Tucker
is it caused?
I've seen Tucker Carlson cover some of it, and he'll have, you know, the plane, the small Cessnas just happen to fly into a food processing plant. You know, these controlled burns, so to speak, releasing chemicals into the atmosphere, and it just so happens to be over red states where it's affecting the water supplies in the red states. So yeah, there's a lot to look at when you think about this geopolitical and the national. And then you talk about the Great Reset, and you know how, of course, you know that plays into it. The U.S. dollar. I mean, there's a lot of threats, Mark. We're talking with Mark Haye here on the Consumer Quarterback Show. I'm your host, Brandon Rhymes. 21st Century Financial Group is his company. He can help you kind of get a review, reorganize, look at making sure that you're pulling money where it should be, putting it and plugging it in where it should be, and being cautious about that. Mark, I wanted to read this quote from off of LinkedIn. Economists negative on inflation. It says inflation will drop steadily this year, but not fast enough pace for the Federal Reserve to begin cutting interest rates. According to Wall Street Journal survey of economists, on average, those polled expect inflation now at 5% to end 2023 at 3.53%. That's up 3.1% that they had forecast in January. With high inflation and rates sticking around, economists put the probability of a recession in the next 12 months at 61%. Most expect the downturn to be relatively shallow and short-lived. Meanwhile, only 39% see Fed cutting rates this year. What's your take?
I don't see how inflation is at, what they say, 3.6, or it's going to be 5%. Where are they getting those numbers? You know, go to the grocery store and tell me if your food is 5% more than it was last year, or is it 35%?
Exactly.
You know, so those numbers to me don't even add up.
Nope.
You know, so for them to say, oh, it's going to go down, and you're telling me it's at 5? No, it ain't going down. You know, you got to be realistic. It's not 5%. You know, just looking at eggs. I mean, eggs went from 99 cents, you know, a dozen to $5.99 overnight. That's not a 5% increase.
No, exactly. Yeah, and and there's also anything related to fuel. It starts with fuel, right? The first move was to take us off the pipeline and eliminate our fuel. And you need fuel to truck it. You need fuel to put it on boats and cargo ships. So that's kind of a tax across the board. And then you look at, is it normalized now? Like some people are just like, oh well, but the middle class, the lower income, the middle class is really who's getting hit hard the hardest right now. Small business owners getting hit hard, Mark.
Yeah, very hard. And you said gas. Gas is not 5% increase over the last year to date.
Right.
You went from, I remember the last month or so, right before the election, when President Trump lost, I remember filling up, it was like $1.79 a gallon for regular.
Right.
Some just crazy. And then now today, what is it, $3.49? That's not 5%.
No,
you know what I mean?
It's
like,
not.
Where are they getting those numbers?
Well, they're flat out lying, and they're protecting their own is what they're doing. These government agencies, all of these different, you could go from FDA to the CDC. I mean, you take it right on down, all the three-letter acronyms. They've all, it seems like, seemingly turned against the people. They've all have their own agendas now, right?
Yeah.
And then you got people like Fauci and Pete Buttigieg talking about roads are racist. I heard another rant on one of the podcasts. Oh yeah, roads. The roads are racist because we don't have crosswalks in certain areas, and you notice the number of fatalities have gone up, and it's the roads are racist now, Mark.
Yeah. Well, just to touch base on inflation, we'll move forward. We have ways to work with inflation, so we can have your money work with inflation. So that's not an issue. You guys, people have problem or worried about inflation. We could show you how inflation can work for you. But moving on, with Pete Buttigieg, and I think that Pete Buttigieg is the one that said, if you can't afford gasoline, then go buy an electric car.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, that's the same knowledge to say, look, if you're homeless, just go buy a house.
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah, exactly.
What are you talking about? I mean, an electric car is 50, 60 grand, and most people don't have that kind of money to spend on a car.
They're disconnected.
And if they're worried about putting gas in it, they're worried about $3.29 a gallon. They're certainly not going to afford a $50,000 electric vehicle. Everybody would like that. We would all love to have that, But then Pete Buttigieg with the whole transportation. What happened with all these trains and these derailments? He really hasn't stood up and said, here's what's caused it. Right. Here's what we're doing to fix it.
The accountability.
Yeah, we don't have any answers. We don't know why these trains derailed, and they just stopped.
Yep. Exactly.
We're done. So it's like, it's just odd.
There's no accountability. Here's another clip I want to play for you here to get your reaction. So this is talking about the credit contraction and the debt crisis.
This is a global crisis constructed in large part by the communists, China and Russia, and the endless war crowd, and the global elite. And Europe right now is having a credit crisis that we're headed toward. So you always get a preview if you go take a look at Europe. And then China's having credit crisis issues with a bunch of their trade partners right now. So that's going to crack up the banking system.
Yeah, you're going to have a sovereign debt crisis.
Yes.
But right now, CNBC's got it. Everybody's got it. The Fed economist said in the notes on the Fed last meeting that a contraction of lending of credit, and you're going to see this. Young people are going to see this in credit cards. Is going to tip us into recession. Of course, you're going to have a major credit contraction here. A credit contraction, that's going to exacerbate this.
Mark Haye, your reaction?
Well, I do think that obviously our country and our countries, our debt is out of control, and 50% of all of our revenues going towards entitlements, Social Security, Medicare, Medicaid.
Right.
That's not even counting military. That's not counting paying the debt. That's not counting anything else.
Wow.
We have a serious debt problem. But then you look at the individual. We have more debt as individuals right now, as families and households, than we've had in a long, long time.
Yeah.
And people are putting a lot of things on credit card they normally wouldn't, because this paycheck to paycheck, inflation's way more than 5%.
Yep.
And here in Florida, and you're a realtor, these people are getting new homeowner insurance quotes, and your premium's now $16,000 a year instead of being $6,000. The taxes have really gone up a lot, for properties, and we still live in a great state, but people are feeling it, and they're putting a lot of stuff on credit card, and the credit card debt is soaring right now.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, we have parents moving in with kids moving in with parents, and people are starting to live like that again just because of the way things are.
Necessity.
Yeah. And go back to what you said. Oh, inflation's going to go down. In what world?
Yeah, exactly.
Is that going down?
No.
As long as that printing machine is working every single day, and we're sending billions over Ukraine, and we're sending money into the market to manipulate the market, you ain't going down anytime soon. But again, we'll show you how to have your money work with inflation. We can help you, but that's a pie in the sky to think that's just going to come down and just change. And nothing that our leaders are doing, they're not doing anything to correct it.
Right.
Like, what are we doing as a country or as leadership to get inflation under control?
Yeah, and we're distracted by all these, let's go after Donald J. Trump, let's go after these guys, and then they file a countersuit. So you got all this money and all this time being spent in areas that's not helping the American people. And it's these, it's these globalists, these elites, it's the uniparty, it's both parties that are guilty of this. And there's few great, people up there, characters like Jim Jordan, some of these guys I really like. But for the most part, a lot of these folks need to be kicked out, start over fresh, reduce the size of government, eliminate a lot of the regulations, eliminate a lot of these three-letter alphabet agencies, and we'd be much better off. But we got to go to a quick break here. ConsumerQB.com if you want more information from Mark Haye and you want to get a review. More with Mark Haye coming up here on the flip side of this break. We're going to talk about the IRS a little bit next here in the next segment. Mark Haye, 21st Century Financial Group. I'm your host, Brandon Rhymes. Coming up here, quick break on the Consumer Quarterback Show, online at ConsumerQB.com.
And life in Tampa Bay. Online at ConsumerQB.com.
All right, Brandon Rhymes here, Consumer Quarterback Show, powered by the Platinum MVP team at Keller Williams Realty, part of the Sports and Entertainment Division of Keller Williams, the Luxury Division of Keller Williams, also doing commercial vacant land sales as well. We got a couple of hot listings we're going to let you know about here in beautiful Tampa Bay. We got a property on Lake Tarpon at 3058 Mildred Drive, Palm Harbor. This is a canal front home, beautiful pool, and you have access to Lake Tarpon. It's the largest lake in all of Tampa Bay, 2,500-acre lake, almost 1,400 square foot, 3-bedroom, 2-bath property here with a beautiful pool, screened-in pool, granite countertops, and more. Hot listing on Mildred Drive, Palm Harbor, Florida. Beautiful property from the Platinum MVP team. Also, 14 Baywood Drive, Palm Harbor. This one is in a waterfront community. You have a private boat ramp and boat dock. 14 Baywood Drive is 2,913 square feet, 4 bedrooms, 3 bath, completely remodeled 3-story home. And you've got vaulted ceilings, just a gorgeous kitchen as well. Love that light color design in the kitchen. Beautiful bathrooms, large oversized bathroom. You got a private pool. Beautiful property. You can see all of our real estate properties at PlatinumMVPTeam.kw.com. That's right. Shout out to our veterans, our troops, everybody protecting us out there. We greatly appreciate you doing that. We do offer discounts for veterans, first responders, teachers, nurses, and seniors. Reach out to the hotline. We'd love to connect with you. We got Mark Haye in studio, 21st Century Financial Group. Mark, I wanted to get to this quick clip here, and I want to get your response. IRS hiring has started. IRS hiring new agents.
Senator, let's deal with the IRS for a second.
Cruz.
There are two headlines that caught our eye. IRS $80 billion news dump raises some serious questions. 48 days after a deadline, the Biden administration says the IRS will release some details of its $80 billion in new taxpayer funding. And this on top of the fact we're now hearing that the IRS is planning to hire 30,000 new employees over the next 2 years. Now, I want you to explain, is this on top of the 87 they already wanted, or is this 30 because they don't get the 87,000 that they wanted? Explain this for everybody.
Well, no, unfortunately, this is the first installment of the 87,000.
So first installment, 87,000 new. By the way, I thought that funding got blocked somehow. I guess not.
No, unfortunately, it went through, and then slowly they're hiring. But that's what we talk about. You're going to hire the agents. Well, then they need a staff. Then they need a computer. They need a desk. They need a place to be, a building, a rent. It's you talk about $80 billion. That's just like tip of the iceberg of what this is going to cost U.S. taxpayers.
Right.
And then not to mention, you're going to go after the mom and pops and the people that are trying to make it, with the Venmos, and you got $600 plus on there, and you got to report it. And meanwhile, the Pentagon loses $2.1 trillion. Let's start with the $2.1 trillion.
Yeah. And
we're going to work our way down to the $600.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, let's go there first. Where is that money?
Yeah.
$1 trillion. Two of them is insanity.
The unaccountability is what really gets most people.
It's nuts. And then we were talking about the troops just there when he came out of there, and that 21-year-old, leaked whatever files, and then all of a sudden now we got boots on the ground in Ukraine. Like, where did that come from? Like, you can't just put boots on the ground without, having any kind of legislation to do that.
It almost needs to be a vote, right? Like there needs, just like we have these votes for president and governor, or what about if we have, hey guys, does everybody want to do all this money for so-called infrastructure that's actually the opposite? By the way, they name these bills the opposite of what they actually are. It's Orwellian. But shouldn't we, hey, let's have a special vote. Do you want us to put troops over here or troops over there? Most people will be voting no on that stuff.
Yeah, I mean, I think that people realize that this whole Ukraine thing is just a big scam at this point, and I think that
scam.
I think that as a U.S., I think we got to pull out at this point. I don't think it's helping our country in any way.
Southern border's wide open.
I just don't see how this is benefiting us. It's only making things worse for us. We're printing money, sending hundreds of billions of dollars. Now we got troops on the ground, and you can't tell me some 21-year-old that's in the National Guard or whatever has access to these files. Right. There is just no way that he just walks in and has access. Yeah. So everything,
Lee Harvey Oswald or whatever.
Yeah, everything just is just odd, and God bless our troops, and certainly they're doing whatever they're ordered to do. But just to say that we have boots on the ground in Ukraine now without ever knowing that, while sending all this money over, meanwhile our schools can't have armed guards, our borders can't be secure.
Exactly.
It drives me nuts.
Take the last 30 seconds, Mark, and let people know how they can contact you, my friend.
Yeah, please. If you're worried about inflation, worried about taxes, you're worried about anything that's happening in this country, we certainly could help you. 727-804-7220.
Awesome. Reach out online at 21st Century Financial Group.
You got it. XXIFinancial.com.
XXIFinancial.com. ConsumerQB.com as well. Mark, always great talking with you. And, yeah, man, it's just like a recap of the insanity, when you start thinking about these government policies, hiring more agents, simplify the code, as you said earlier, would be a good start. Let's simplify the code. Let's take away some of the loopholes for the wealthy and the rich, like Pelosi getting rich on all these different kickbacks over the years. Unbelievable that's out there. But appreciate you coming in, man.
Thank you.
It's
Have a good day.
All right, coming up, Mike Murphy Auto Group. We're going to talk about microchips, semiconductors, car industry, auto industry, for sale, leases, and more. Consumer Quarterback Show, ConsumerQB.com.
Thanks for listening to my daddy's show. Please make sure to send him all of your real estate deals and subscribe to the Consumer Quarterback Show podcast on iTunes and Spotify. Or check out our YouTube channel. Have a blessed day.